There we go. That's better, I think.
Are you ready for some nerd power? It's the Falcon Paladin Hour, a podcast by Falcon Paladin and Somicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie. Talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello and welcome, and boy do I have a sense of deja vu, because I feel like we just did this, Falcon.
Strange. We just did this a week ago, but
No, I feel like we just started the podcast about 2 minutes ago, and something went wrong and we weren't live, and this is the second time we've had this bit of the conversation.
huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really can't relate. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, is it
Maybe
just
you're
me?
are you having a stroke? Do you smell burning toast?
No. I do kind of smell burning pastries, because I ate some pies for lunch.
Were they burned? That's sad.
They were singed a little around the edges, but I mean, you stick something in an oven for 45 minutes, something's gonna burn eventually.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's burn and there's crispy. Anyway, whatever.
The crispy is just
Thank you.
the nicest side of burnt. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go. They're cousins or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Podcast day is here.
Sure is.
I do want a quick Brood War note, though.
Sure.
Did you ever hear about the SCV flying bug that they introduced into
Yeah.
StarCraft?
Yeah.
Okay, so that got fixed today.
Oh, cool.
I mean, absolutely did not expect that at all. There was no announcement like we're working on it, right? Like we'll have a fix soon. The people that put together like on their own fan-made ladder for StarCraft called Shield Battery, they had it fixed in like a week. But Blizzard, the one person working on all the StarCraft projects was finally like, oh, I guess maybe we should look at this thing. That is murdering the ladder.
Well, I mean, they probably just copy pasted whatever the shield battery people did, right? It's like, oh yeah, just merge that with the live version on Battle.net. It'll be
maybe,
fine.
yeah, maybe somebody at Shield Battery was like, look, man, I know you don't know how to code. Here.
I know you just spent the last 2 weeks, trying to get out of the parking lot, right? Like, it's a confusing place. But
Yeah.
at some point, you got to come in and do your work. I've done it for you. You just need to sign in and push these two buttons. Just push this live.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's fixed. Somebody posted in the Discord that like 17 or 18 of the top 20 players on the Korean ladder for StarCraft were Terrans. Like most of those were just SCV glitch abusers. Like it was destroying the ladder. So it's
Sure.
good to see that that's gone. That is wonderful. Again, I was very worried about yeah, I was very worried that it wouldn't get fixed for another few months, but apparently good change can happen while bad change is happening.
Apparently, it's possible.
Yeah, if we want to get into that, I mean, You want to
We,
discuss the
we,
goings on at Activision Blizzard recently, or do we want to not do that?
we can talk about it. That's fine. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you explain the situation?
Yeah, so for those of you who've lived under a rock, basically a bunch of people came out who are former employees of Activision Blizzard or current employees, saying that it is an extraordinarily toxic work environment.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this has been going on for years, but a lot of sexual harassment, potentially even some rape incidents, like really just down the rabbit hole of just really terrible, awful, evil behavior. And this all came to a head when somebody who reportedly was, again, reportedly in a relationship with their boss, which, don't do that. Don't date your boss. Don't date your subordinates. Never, ever, ever do that. I'm shocked there wasn't a policy preventing this from happening. But reportedly, she killed herself while on a work-sponsored trip. And I think that seems to be what brought this to a head.
Yeah, I mean, just as a note about the policy, it sounds like the policies might have been encouraging it. Given this, like, it's much more likely that's what's going on, given the other accusations that are going around and the behavior at present, currently at Activision Blizzard. Which
yeah, and the larger problem, like, not the larger problem, but the problem is the environment. But what doesn't help is that apparently people reported they went to HR and HR was like, "You're the problem. Screw you. Everything's fine."
mm-hmm.
Which, like, I understand that HR is more on the side of the company than the individual. I get that, but also HR should exist to prevent the company from getting sued into oblivion. Like, that's something that HR should be looking out for the company's best interests, even if the company doesn't want to do the things.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
Right. So HR should have been acting in a way to prevent this current storm from happening at all, and they failed miserably there. So they failed both the company and the individuals working for the company. So 2 thumbs up, HR department of Blizzard Activision. You guys just absolutely suck at your jobs in every possible way. Way to go.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So there's been a strike. I saw that announced earlier today. People walked out of their jobs. There was Activision Blizzard released a very professional PR statement that was like, everything's fine, nothing to see here, which was like, wow, okay. That's one way to handle this, I guess.
Yeah. Not how I think a lot of people were hoping it would be handled, but that's what they've decided to do.
No, and this hurts too. Mike Morhaime, former president of Blizzard, who works for Dreamhaven now, he put out a statement saying, "We failed you," and I was just like, dude, so like you didn't fix these problems when you were there, and then like skipped on your merry way to start a new company and left everything behind. Oh, not a good look, man.
Nope.
Not a good look.
Nope.
I don't know. I was looking forward to Dreamhaven and what they could do, but if it's just like all the leadership who left Blizzard knew the stuff was going on, didn't really fix it, and then started their own company, that's a bad look. So this all totally sucks. The end.
The end. Yeah.
You have anything? Did I miss anything? You have anything
I've
to
got
add?
the wrong overlay on, apparently. How did that happen?
Do you?
Apparently.
Oh.
How did... No, that one doesn't have the things. Interesting.
Streaming is hard.
Yeah, it is, apparently. Excuse me, keep talking while I try and fix this.
Okay.
Or not, whatever.
No, that's all. So that's
Fixed.
really super bad, and I always hear this from people on Twitter and different places, like the games industry is overall toxic and bad for women and people especially. And I'm always like, that's not fair. This is a generalization of a couple game companies that are bad. Like, if Blizzard's this way, like, who is not? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Again, it's still not fair to generalize everyone, but I do worry it's more widespread than I believed it was, last week.
Right. I mean, yeah. I saw someone on Twitter saying, like, never think that a company can't let you down when they've, like, it couldn't get any worse when a company's already let you down once. And so I think that's probably something to keep in mind moving forward with every company. It's like where we are, it can always get worse from this company. Like they're always going to do something to disappoint.
Turns out they were selling weapons to the Iranians. It's like, ah, Blizzard, come on. We can't be surprised, though. Like,
No.
You already let us down once.
That's a bit beyond being let down, right?
Yeah,
But
probably.
yeah.
So, just how else are they going to make up for their subs and WoW? Good point. I mean, how are they going to fix that unless they start selling weapons? Yeah. So I don't know. So in the end, what I think is going to happen here is they're going to end up paying a big fine to the state of California. I. It's really hard to get criminal convictions out of situations like this. I'd be surprised if we saw any, but again, it's not so much that's what would fix it. It needs a culture reboot. It just seems like it's too entrenched. It's too entrenched that this frat boy kind of behavior is just the order of things, which bothers me. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like we need new leadership, like boot out the existing president, everybody in HR, team leads, whatever you need to do. But then you can't promote people who are part of it either. So I don't know. It's not an easy fix. I don't have any experience with fixing this kind of thing, and I worry that it's not entirely fixable. So I don't know.
Yeah. No idea how to fix it. Wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah. So gross.
Yep. Pretty gross.
But in the end, the firestorm will die down. People will forget about it. There will be a new thing to be upset about because that's how we roll these days. I remember there used to be times when I was younger where we would go months without everyone be mad about something. It was great. Not anymore. There's always something to be mad about.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes justified, sometimes not.
I feel like when you were younger, you probably just weren't looking hard enough.
I'm not talking about when I was a baby.
I don't think you were looking. I didn't think you were
10
looking when
years
you were a baby.
ago.
10 years ago, there was stuff to be mad about all the time if you were looking hard enough. And you wouldn't have to try
all
hard.
the
Twitter was
time.
around 10 years ago. Like, Twitter has not changed that much in 10 years.
I don't know. I feel like it's been much more widely adopted in the last 10 years than when it started.
I think Twitter's been more widely adopted in the last 10 years, but I don't think the idea of being outraged about something is, like, significantly more pervasive on the site than it was before.
I'm not just talking about Twitter. I'm talking as a culture.
Sure, but this is where I see most of it, right? Like, if I
Yeah.
wasn't on Twitter, I probably wouldn't have even heard this happen, right? Obviously, I saw some stuff on Reddit, but Twitter and Reddit are kind of like, all right, check one, check the other, nothing new, nothing I'm really interested in, go back to playing video games. So they're kind of like the same to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how you click on Reddit and say there's nothing new. Like,
Well, okay.
there's like a million new posts every second on that site.
I clicked, I just opened Reddit, and the top, everything on this page has already got a you've seen this little check mark on it. So, because it's counting the number of new comments. And I'm like, oh, I don't care enough to read the new comments. So,
No, definitely not. You need to turn on the setting that hides posts once you have voted on them.
yeah, I could do that, but then when I want to show someone that thing, I can never find it again because it hides it.
Right. That is a concern.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Anywho. I don't know. I guess maybe what actually happened was we were madder about things for longer, right? Like the thing that everyone's outraged about happens, and it's the thing for the next 6 months, right? And
Right.
now it's like something happens, and we're like 2 weeks later, there's a new thing, and we're on to that, you know?
I think you just move faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that might be just a general society is moving faster kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho's. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So on that wonderful, wonderful note of discussion, let's do GSL. GSL is happening.
GSL slightly happened. Yeah, there was one series played,
Yes.
which was who was it? It was Dark Parting.
It was dark parting.
And it was a 4-0 stomp.
It was, and the question I had last week was, would Parting use Sky Toss? And the answer is yes. He did.
He did, yeah.
He did it. He did a couple times, and it looked good. It was a good Sky Toss. But
Yeah.
Dark held this Carrier Void Ray, like Immortal Disruptor attack with Mass Queen and Microbial Shroud, and I was like, "What? What are you doing? How is Microbial Shroud working in this situation?" And then it did.
Yep.
So Dark's a wizard, is what I learned from that game. Because
Yeah.
I was like, he only has queens here. Microbial Shroud, what a joke. Nope, totally worked. Totally got Parting to back off, and then he won the game later. It was amazing.
Turns out negating 50% of all damage you receive, pretty good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is good.
Turns
It
out.
just is not as good. I think the problem is it's not as good as Infested Terrans were. So I think like the relative difference, a lot of Zerg players are just like, sucks by comparison of the incredible anti-air capabilities the Infested Terran had.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Anyway, so yeah, Parting has a bad day, and it's Trap Dark in the finals.
Yeah. Another ZVP for everyone.
A lot of ZVP.
Yeah. Yeah. Predictions?
If I don't know, it feels like Dark's really doing well recently. I don't have any concerns about him as a player. Let's see what he did. It was a lot of ZVT for him in the group stage, so that doesn't help with ZVP. And honestly, 4-0ing Parting is like Parting. I don't know. We don't have any respect for Parting on this podcast, sadly. So yeah, I don't think that. He's got it together. He knows what to do against Sky Toss, which Trap is obviously going to go for at least, 3 times.
At least 3 times in a best of 7.
But I mean, if it's a sweep either way, we only get 4 games. So I'm trying to be. I can't guarantee 6 because what if it doesn't go 6 games?
Right, no, but if he goes at least 3 times and Dark gets it 3 times, it's really kind of like, oh, he's going to try the same thing over and over again. All right.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Assuming
I
Dark
don't know.
beat Dark in 12 pools at least once.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked if he did that.
I am probably thinking it's going to be like another 4-0 Dark Swale, if I had to guess.
Really?
Yeah.
4-0?
Yeah. Maybe a
Okay.
4-1. Maybe a 4-1. But then again, I thought Parting would take a game as well.
Sure, but I think Trap's way better than Parting.
Sure, it's alright. But he's not, I mean, I think he is way better, but he's no former world champion Parting, you know? Parting was a world champion.
Trap was close. It was real close.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, cool. So I'm seeing a 6-game series personally.
6 games.
I see Dark winning, but I see more of a 4-2 kind of a thing.
Okay. Fair
When
enough.
is that again? That is in 2 days. Into
It's
1.5
tomorrow
days-ish.
night. Tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Cool. So that's GSL.
This entire playoffs for GSL has lined up perfectly that we would do this podcast right before the games. Like,
Right. And then by the time we talk about it, it's old news.
it's old news, so everyone's heard everything there is to say about Parting at Dark. And by the time we get to the podcast next week, everyone will heard everything about Trap and Dark.
Yep.
Yeah. Love it. Ooh, thanks, GSL. They clearly
for
did
being
this
on it.
on purpose. They did this
Thanks
just
for
to
being on
spite
at
us.
3 in the morning where I am. Yeah.
Oh, is it 3 in the morning for you?
Uh-huh.
Ugh, that's no good.
It sucks. Yeah. Gross.
Yeah.
So let's see what else is going on.
Yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
I was just saying, I'm trying to think of anything else that's happening right now. And like, the two things I have are like the first part of the Final Fantasy Pixel remake comes out tomorrow. So Final Fantasies 1, 2, and 3 are finally playable on Steam, like on PC legitimately. Like you don't have to download an emulator.
It's kind of amazing.
Kind of nice. And then I got an email saying I'm in the Halo Infinite multiplayer beta. Technical demo, I think is what they call it, but it's a beta. So that's cool. Nothing really to talk about yet because I haven't played either of these games yet.
Right.
Like, it's cool. Again, we'll have stuff to talk about next week.
After it's old news.
Yeah.
The Olympics are happening.
Yep. I saw.
It's not
Have you-
sports ball entirely. There's a lot of non-ball sports in there.
It's true, but I really don't like the Olympics. Like talking about the Olympics all that much. It's not particularly interesting about who's getting gold medals. That's kind of.
It's because Australia doesn't get gold medals. That's why I understand.
We already got a gold medal. What the hell are you on about?
Oh, you did? Oh, look at that! You're 5th in the world.
Yeah. Like
Way to go, Australia.
I don't dislike the Olympics because we don't do well in it.
You have 5 golds.
Mm-hmm. How many gold you got?
9.
Ooh, very nice. A respectable 9. I did see a clip of I think it was the triathlon, starting with like the divers, and they're all along this big diving board. I say diving board. It's more like a barge that's out in the ocean. They're all lined up along it, and the like klaxon blares, and half the people dive in, and the other half are all just standing there because there's a freaking boat in the way.
It's
like,
a media boat. They've got like
Yeah.
cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Yeah, so I had to restart it, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad for all those people who've already started swimming their little hearts out.
Yeah, and they're a little tired, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, looks like all your gold medals will come in swimming, which makes sense. You're a nation known for swimmers. You're an island after all.
In Thorpe, yeah.
So let's see. Kaylee McCown swimming, women's 100-meter backstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Your team, the women's 4x100-meter freestyle relay won. That's
Oh.
nice. And someone named Ariarn. Is that a dude's name? Ariarn?
I would
Yarn?
have to look at it.
Oh.
Just judging from your butchered pronunciation, who can tell anything?
That's fair.
Ariane?
Sure.
It's a guess.
Woman's name, man's name? Not a
Prob-
common name in Australia, apparently.
I would say woman's name.
Okay.
Yeah, woman. I just googled it.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
400-meter freestyle. Good
So your
for her.
dudes need to pick it up, but your women are competing just fine, thank you. Yeah. There was a bit of a controversy, because the U.S. women's gymnastics team was one of the favorites to win gold, right?
Okay.
The star gymnast on the team's named Simone Biles. She's amazing. She's won a ton of golds in Olympics in past. She's 25 years old, so she's old for a gymnast, right?
Right.
And she's won like world championships and other events and stuff. And right before her event in this final against Russia, she just kind of pulled out.
Interesting.
Yeah, she said that she said literally she was dealing with stress and couldn't compete and just left. And so they were left a gymnast down, and Russia won because of this, right? And it's really weird because, again, she's done the Olympics multiple times. she's not someone who in the past has ever succumbed to the pressure or the stress of her situation.
Well,
You
doesn't mean
would
she
think,
can't, you know.
yes, that's true, but you would think someone would have this happen when they're younger. Like in their
Right.
first Olympics, they get overwhelmed with everything. It's like, okay, I get that. But if you've already done it 3 times and this is the time you're feeling overwhelmed, it's like, something else is going on here. I don't think it's that simple, but I don't know. I'm no psychologist.
Maybe she's just freaked out by performing in an empty stadium because there's no one there, and she just thinks it's really freaky and it's getting on her nerves that she's seeing people out of the corner of their eyes where there shouldn't be people there. I mean, empty stadiums are spooky, right?
That is an excellent point. I'd forgotten they don't have spectators.
Yeah,
Maybe that is it. Maybe that just completely tripped her out.
maybe.
Because yeah, she's been competing in front of huge crowds her entire life, and so for that to be gone, it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, she was competing against Russia, you said?
I believe so.
What Russians banned from the Olympics for the
So here's
state-sponsored
what-
doping program?
Yep. So here's what they ended up doing, because the International Olympic Committee is corrupt as all get out.
Uh-huh.
The people that were clean, the people that were tested for drugs and weren't doping, are allowed to compete
Okay.
under the country of Russia, but Russia itself is not officially there. It's a really, really stupid situation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yep.
Why not?
I heard about it and I was like, what? What? How does this make any sense? Yeah.
One day, the Olympic Committee and FIFA will have a corrupt off to find out which of them is worse.
Oh. Yeah. Because it is hard for me to choose between those two.
Yeah.
Does it just come with being an international organization? Like, there's just too much money.
I
There are
assume
entire
so.
countries trying to manipulate you, and they have a lot of cash, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think
Yes.
it just comes with the territory. I don't know.
I think it just comes with having a boatload of money.
Yeah.
Being able to get your way because boatload of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my guess.
Didn't the world? I'm pretty sure. So the World Cup's in Qatar, right?
Yes. That's the last time I heard, or last place I heard it would be. Yeah.
So entirely ignoring the fact that they're building the stadiums with slave labor because they are. The other thing is that Qatar is like, I know it's 100 million degrees in the summer here, but we're going to build these super state-of-the-art, super mega air-conditioned stadiums.
Yeah.
And then they were like, just kidding, we can't get it done in time for the Olympics. for the World Cup. So the World Cup's like, we're moving the dates now to when it's cooler. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, come on. You spend all this money to be like, we need the World Cup in our country. It's going to be so awesome. And you promise all this stuff, and then you totally fall on your face.
Yeah.
Let's see, when is it? So
November
now it's in
next year?
November to December.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
winter in Qatar.
Yeah. Which
It's entirely because they couldn't get it done.
right, but here's the thing:
Oh.
building stadiums isn't like FIFA's. That's not their requirement, right? That's on
No.
Qatar. Qatar was
Yes.
like, we can't get it done, so FIFA's had to move to accommodate.
Yes.
So that's
yep.
that's kind of like FIFA being like meeting them halfway. If FIFA had just been like, oh well, it's going on in the summer anyway, athletes can just pass the fuck out, we don't care. That sounds like something FIFA would do. I mean, given the fact that they would force them to build stadiums in Qatar, so you know.
Yeah. There are reports that up to 7,000 migrant workers have died in Qatar working to build these stadiums for the World Cup.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep. It's wonderful.
Way to go, guys. 1,000 points.
I still love
Anywho.
okay, so I know you don't like John Oliver, but John Oliver had a segment on this on his show. And he was talking about when they were building stadiums in Brazil. Brazil has a public safety law saying that you can't sell alcohol at sporting venues because
Wow.
people drink a fuck ton and get drunk and that causes problems like violence and destruction, other fun stuff that comes with drunken idiots and en masse. And FIFA sent a representative saying, we have a sponsorship obligation to sell beer because we're sponsored by, I think it was Budweiser. And so you will lift your public safety regulations and allow us to sell beer at the venues. And then you know what happened? People got drunk and fought.
Yeah, of course.
Ugh.
Welcome to, yeah.
Fucking FIFA.
Sports. Corruption.
Who doesn't like sports and corruption?
I know, right? Everybody. Literally everybody does. That's it.
Literally everyone.
So today I was watching some of the old Day 9 dailies. StarCraft 2 from like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting to see how StarCraft 2 has changed in the last 10 years. Because like a lot of it, feels pretty much the same. It's just I had forgotten how fast the 4 Warp Gate strategy came out. Because this video was posted maybe a month or two after StarCraft 2 had been released. And Day 9's there talking about how fast, how incredibly strong. Like the top of the ladder is populated by Protoss who are just going for Warp Gate because it's so hard to stop.
Right.
And I was just like, dang, I feel like we had a year or two before that really caught on. But no, that was right at the inception of StarCraft 2. People figured out this whole warping in concept is awesome and really strong. And just crushing everybody with it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was fun.
It's weird how old StarCraft is now.
Yeah.
Like it's 11-year old for StarCraft 2 now. Like we just had its birthday like yesterday.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so you mentioned that in the GSL promos, like Dark was doing like this thumbs down thing.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing somewhere a video of like a StarCraft 2 game in like an airport hangar, like an airplane hangar. And I don't know who it is. It's like MC or Nada or someone. But he does this like thumbs down to his opponent being like, I'm going to beat you. So I'm like, oh, it's that. And I went to go and find it. And I couldn't find the clip itself. But what I found it in was a 9-year-old like StarCraft 2 fan-made song by Tempo. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the When I'm Grandmaster song, right?
Yeah.
I think anyone who's a StarCraft 2 fan has probably heard that at some point. Maybe that's wrong, but... So, yeah, you watch that, and then you recognize all the stuff that's gone. All the players that references who've retired. And, like, the fact that GOM TV just doesn't exist anymore. And it's been gone for some time. The fact that it talks about Day 9 in the chorus, and he doesn't talk about StarCraft anymore. There are no dailies, and it's just like... It's such a different time. You go to 2011 to today, and it's 10 years, and it doesn't feel like it's that long, but so much has changed.
Yeah. I mean, we still have Tastosis, so the one true constant in StarCraft.
That's the one thing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. No matter what platform it's being cast on, it's Tastosis.
Yeah.
Oh, we're old. We're old, Somicron.
It's true. So old. So I cast a game with Lenok. He's actually still playing. He's competing and stuff. Wow. He hasn't done anything in a long time, but I was like, I need to go back and remember how good Lenok was. So when he was 15, he took a game off Nada. He made it to the grand finals of some tournament and qualified for GSL. He qualified for GSL Code S. He was taking games off people like MC, Huck. Like he was awesome. Tastosis said that his potential was unlimited, and then and then he was great, and then he just fell off a cliff. It's so interesting to me to see some players who are just always great and always able to compete at the highest level, and maybe they're not winning championships anymore, but making it to playoffs. And like Flash, for example, Flash was just great until he retired. Yeah, Innovation, Maru, right? Like all these dudes that are just consistently great. And then it's like Lenok was dominant for
3 to 4 years and then just disappeared.
Right, and not like regular disappeared like Fruit Dealer, who literally stopped playing. He was always just kind of around, just never did anything. Like, no results to really speak of with Lenok. I think Lenok's done his military, though.
He has.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that explains a
He's
good
not
2
retired.
years. Yeah.
He's not retired because I got a replay from Pig from EPT Asia, number 81, where he played his. Well, it was part of the whole tournament, but a series against Gumio was really good. And it's just like,
still
yeah, right? Yeah, he's doing this crazy mech thing, man.
Yeah.
He won this. He won this EPT Asia thing, beat a bunch of good players with like this crazy. Like I don't know. This is coming out next week, but he went. So it kind of looked like he was starting out race car mech. He had Hellions and Cyclones and doing some stuff. Then he added tanks and a couple Thors, and he had a Banshee hit squad running around. And he had Liberators in the mix, and it was just like all of the mech. It reminded me of what Maru was doing last year, where he was kind of making mech work. And it was just the same thing. It was just like scatter mech, throw every mech unit at the opponent and see what happens.
Okay,
Yeah, and it worked. It worked for Gumio here. He won the whole darn tournament with this kind of thing, and
fair enough.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. Still can't get past the fact that certain Korean Zerg players are just like, I don't know what to do with a lot of Thors and tanks. It's like, you abduct them and kill them one by one. I don't know why this is hard. As a Zerg player, it bugs me. Because, Lenok was just like, roaches and Ravagers and some Lurkers. And I'm like, are you going to make a single Spellcaster? No. Like, not one Infester, not one Viper. And I was just like, you gotta, man.
I mean, if they don't make spellcasters, you don't need to make spellcasters. That's the rule, right? Like, Terran can just make Mass Thor. Protoss can just make a bunch of carriers, right? Like, you don't need to make spellcasters to beat those, because that would require you having more skill than your opponent. You should be able to just mash Hydras or Roaches straight in there. It doesn't matter. Like, that's how the game's played.
Yeah, that's how we ensure that it's fair. If your opponent's not making spellcasters, you don't have to make spellcasters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Anywho, it's fun though. I do like seeing different strategies, and it really bothers me that it seems like all Terran can do against Zerg anymore at the highest level is Marine Marauder Medevac with one of mines, right? I would like to see mech be more viable. Like, maybe not unstoppable, but let's make it so that, I don't know, once in a 7-game series, a Terran will do it against a Zerg, you know? Yeah,
that would be nice.
Protoss, too. They don't have any choices against Protoss either. They Hanko mech there.
No, not really.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one thing I would complain about with balance in StarCraft 2 right now is just that. Like, Terran's really pigeonholed. They've got one strategy that's really good, and they can win with it, but they really don't have any options. Whereas I do feel like Protoss and Zerg have a lot of options for every matchup of what they want to do. Although don't go Ultras in ZVZ. There are some other things like that.
Okay.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Oh man, as long as I'm spoiling future casts.
Sure.
There's a Midrank Madness that is coming up in a couple days. A pretty good diamond level game. Like, both players, it's a long ZVZ, and they're both using the right units, and the Roaches, Hydras. And then one of the players, they both go into Lurkers.
Okay.
But the game ends because one of the dudes runs an army of Roach Hydra Ultra into about 8 Lurkers, and everything dies.
Oh.
And then he calls it cheese. It's like, why you got a cheese? It was such a good game, too. Why did you make Lurkers and ruin it? And I'm like, okay, look. You cannot like playing against Lurkers. I get it. You can't call it cheese. Lurkers are buried, super deep in the tech tree.
No. Anything cloaked is cheese. Dark Templars, cheese, right? Like, Ghosts, cheese. Banshees, cheese. Anything under a mothership, cheese. Right? This is that is how cheese is defined. I think you'll find. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I forgot that. I forgot. Invisible things are cheese. You're right.
It's true. Yep.
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 Man, it was just he was so mad. I was like, all right, man, I get it. You're mad, but like, the best part is this dude who was mad started the game with a 12 pool.
Why you got a cheese?
Yeah, he was projecting a little bit there, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still a great game for sure.
That's great.
It is. And yeah, the Day 9 Daily too. Like I know this is before your time, but there were a couple maps that he showed in there, and I was like, oh, I missed these maps.
Yeah.
He had a
Well,
Steps of War game. You've heard of Steps of War, right? The rush distance is like 4 seconds.
nope.
Oh, yeah. No, Google Steps of War in StarCraft 2 and see how small the map is. And yeah, there was a game on there that was crazy. There was a bunch of Lost Temple stuff. I remember when Lost Temple
Is
was
it
in
a-
the map pool.
Oh no, it's not. Oh, I think I have played this map very briefly for an April 1st. Blizzard made co-op 1v1. So you would launch into co-op with your co-op hero, and you would just fight the other person on Steps of War.
Okay, that's genius. That's a great idea.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
that is a tiny map.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just certain maps, I don't know, they were not balanced. Like Lost Temple had the problem where there's high ground at your natural that you can't access without flying. So basically, Zergs were just screwed because Terrans would drop tanks up there and Protoss would just put Colossus up there, and you'd be like, well, I guess let me get my Spire out, see what I can do about this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was bad. Good memories though. Good memories of bad maps. You're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you just linked me this letter from CEO Bobby Kotick to all employees of Activision.
Which appears to have come out within the last half an hour, which is why I felt it
Yes.
relevant to share.
No, smart. And it's to the employees, but also it was posted on their website. So like it's an open letter, Bobby. Come on.
Yeah.
Call it what it is. This has been a difficult and upsetting week. I don't like how this is starting. I want to recognize and thank the people who have come forward in recent days, because by golly, I didn't know anything about this until now. This
Sure,
is the
Bobby.
implication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's platitudes. Every voice matters. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Our initial responses to the issues we faced together and to your concerns were frankly tone deaf. That's some responsibility, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, not. Well, we're still going.
Shit. Suggestion
Sorry
time.
we didn't provide the right empathy and understanding.
The team leadership has heard you loud and clear. We are taking
Ow.
swift action to the compassionate, caring company you came to work for to ensure a safe environment.
It's just after there's already been a shitstorm about this, it's hard for people to take you seriously with this kind of a thing, man.
Yeah, this is a not we're fixing it because because it needs fixing. This is we're fixing it because people found out.
Yes.
Right? Like this would not have come out 2 weeks ago if someone had told him 2 weeks earlier. You know.
There's no way he didn't hear about any of this.
Oh
until
yeah.
now. There's
Yeah,
no way.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So they're saying they're committing to long-lasting change, effective immediately, taking the following 5-step actions.
Well, okay, but the big thing here is that they are asking a third party to come in, a law
Yes.
firm,
Yeah.
to come from the outside and conduct a review of their policies and procedures. Mm-hmm. So that's good. I think that's a good step.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, I don't know. They can't fix themselves, obviously. So having a third party come in is a good idea.
Sure. Yep. I think that's probably the biggest thing that they're doing. These other 5 steps are nice, and are not. I mean, 3 personnel changes. We are immediately evaluating managers and leaders across the company. Anyone found to have impeding the integrity of the processes for evaluating claims and imposing appropriate consequences will be terminated. So basically, potentially anyone who was involved in this behavior might just get sacked. which it's nice to hear, but the way it's worded is found to have impeded the integrity of our processes for evaluating claims. So that's not if someone claims you did it, it's if you are stifling the evaluation of the claim. So basically, it's if you are covering it up, maybe, or attempting to, then you can, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone involved. I don't know. In-game changes is an interesting one. Some of the in-game content removing changes. I did see a tweet, like a screenshot of something from World of Warcraft that they were removing, like an NPC. I don't know enough about WoW to know what was going on there.
Yeah, there was a dude that does voice acting for them and did model Kael'thas, I think.
Sure.
And then he had several accusations of sexual impropriety, and then they basically got rid of all that stuff.
Okay.
So that's happened. There was another time that happened, but I think this was a while ago. I don't think there's anything recent that I've been aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, moderately promising. We'll see how it goes.
Moderately promising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just... I don't know. It's so deep. It seems like it's so entrenched.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the problem is that the problem is that for the people to whom this was great, they loved going to work because of all the shit they could do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If all of a sudden that swaps over to you can't do any of the fun stuff that you enjoyed, then either you're gonna leave, which probably an ideal outcome, or you're just gonna resent the hell out of it and just take it out on your coworkers, right?
Right.
In different ways. Like maybe you're not sexual harassment Sam anymore. But maybe you just, you're just an asshole in other ways.
Maybe you're the boss that's
fun
like,
how you
I need
want
you guys to work Saturdays from now on, like.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Like, I don't get to call around and look up employee skirts anymore. So I'm gonna make you work overtime and just.
Right.
I'm miserable, so you have to be too. Right.
Everyone's got to be here at 7 a.m. and leave at 5. Right.
Yeah.
That's
what I'd worry about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not great.
Blah. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't want to work there, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to work there.
No, go work somewhere else, people.
Yeah. Although, I don't know where in the games industry I feel comfortable sending you, to be honest. So.
An indie studio with like 4 people.
Yes. I don't know. Those guys are working their butts off too because they're trying to make it big,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that you wouldn't work hard, right? But I don't know. Make your own studio. Make your own games. Do that instead.
Yes.
Probably
the safer.
No financial safety net that comes with working at a big company, and just put your mortgage on the line. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that always works out.
Yeah. Terrible advice.
Gotta take your risks.
It's true.
I guess if you're gonna strike it big.
That's true.
Suppose it's true. I don't know. I mean, I've never been anyone who's quit my 9-to-5 job in order to pursue my dreams, so can't necessarily, tell anyone else to do that. So, yar. I was gonna talk about something. Yeah, I do. Okay, I just want to talk about the most recent episode of Rick and Morty real quick.
Sure.
So, Rick and Morty is a kind of chaotic show, I think. I think I would say that.
Fair, yeah.
So they put out an episode 2 days ago that is effectively about Thanksgiving, but it's the Rick and Morty spin on Thanksgiving, right? So it's not like a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special.
I understand that reference.
Right? No, Charlie Brown stuff hasn't reached Estrella?
I don't know. Just maybe. Who's Charlie Brown?
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I know of Charlie Brown.
Okay. So it's just basically a wholesome example of Thanksgiving. All right.
Sure.
Right, which is a uniquely American holiday, but I think you have the general gist
I
of it
mean,
down.
Canada has a Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, that's right. Canada has their own.
Yep.
Right, but so it's the Rick and Morty version where people are turning into turkeys because, right, that's how they roll, and it's just
Right.
insane. But it just feels like this should have aired on Thanksgiving. Like, right? It is entirely Thanksgiving centric. There is no B plot.
Uh-huh.
It is entirely about Thanksgiving and the president and America in a lot of ways. And they're like, we're just going to dump this on the 4th week of July. Enjoy. I don't follow. Again, and it's Rick and Morty. So maybe that was their intent all along, was we're going to make a Thanksgiving episode and we're going to air it in the middle of the summer. And that'll be hilarious because it makes no sense.
Maybe. Or, I don't know, the shifting trend of just binging a show whenever you find it means that 99% of all times that people will ever watch that episode will not be on the 4th of July anyway. Or not the 4th of July, Thanksgiving. Like, if people come back to this in 10 years and go, I feel like watching Rick and Morty, they're not going to get to that episode and be like, oh, it's a Thanksgiving episode, but it's February. Put it off for now. Right? Like,
right.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to air it when it's thematically consistent with the real world date. I don't think it matters. It probably, I don't know, if it's like a one-off episode, like, hey, we're doing a Christmas bonus, it's usually aired at Christmas because, I don't know, reasons.
That's how it's done?
Yeah, because that's how it's done. But if it's in the middle of a season and they're just doing it as a part of the regular seasonal episode rather than a seasonal episode, wow, that's confusing terminology. But I don't see a problem with just putting it out whenever.
Right, and I'm not complaining. It just felt weird, which again is a lot of their goal, is to make the viewer feel off kilter.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's fine. A lot of the season, I would say, not to spoil it for anybody, is just a lot of wackiness,
Okay.
which has always been... It's always been part of Rick and Morty. They're always about, we just do stuff because we can, because we're an animated medium.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of creative writers on staff. We can do crazy stuff that no one's ever done before.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But it's more episodes in this season that are just straight up wacky. In previous episodes, there's been a lot of maybe some continuity with other episodes where it seems like there are some deeper themes and stuff going on, more stuff to think about, more commentary on certain, social and political things. And there was a little bit of that in this Thanksgiving episode, but largely it was just wacky, zany adventures, which is fine. It's a thing that they do. It just feels like they're maybe leaning more into that than continuity, which they've talked about. They don't want to get stuck in continuity because as a writer, that sucks to be like, I want to write this episode, but I need to fact check everything I say in here against the previous 300 episodes to make sure I don't contradict myself,
Right.
Yeah, and it's just a lot easier when you're just doing a one-off adventure that doesn't have any connection to anything else. So, yeah, it just feels like that's what they're doing, which is fine. That's my Rick and Morty report for the week and the month.
Sure. Cool.
And the year, possibly.
Yeah. Well, wait till it's actually Thanksgiving Day and they put out another Thanksgiving Day episode. You watch.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'll be the sequel to the episode that just aired. Yeah.
Or they put out a 4th of July episode in November on Thanksgiving. Just swapped it.
I wouldn't put it past them.
No, me neither. Anywho. Anywho, good stuff.
Yep.
Is there anything else we need to cover today?
I really can't think of anything.
Quick sports ball minute. Remember, did I talk about the NBA Finals?
Yes.
On this, you
Yes.
check out.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if
I
don't trust
remember
you
it
because you're not
clearly.
listening.
No, go ahead. You didn't.
Well, it bears repeating. I'm just gonna just one thing. So the
Okay.
MVP of the finals is this dude named Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is a Nigerian refugee. He and his family fled to Greece when he was a boy. Okay,
Okay.
so he's got nothing. Raised in Greece with his 3 brothers and his parents in this 1-bedroom apartment. It sucks. They're selling stuff on the street. All the kids are out there selling CDs and T-shirts on the street. Right,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
that is his childhood. And then he's out playing soccer one day just with a bunch of kids, and this basketball talent scout's like, "You are like 6'4". You want to play basketball instead? You're too tall for soccer." So that puts him on this path to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up competing in Greece in some professional leagues when he's young, like 16 or 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He gets drafted into the NBA, brings his whole family over to America, wins an NBA championship. And it's just one of the more amazing, like nothing, rags to riches kind of a story that you just, I don't know. I don't think we hear a lot of those. So it's just one of the more just kind of wholesome stories. And he's just the nicest dude. He's so down to earth. And again, I think it's because he was raised with nothing.
I bet
It's hard to be an entitled adult when you didn't have anything when you were a kid, you know?
I am willing to bet you $100 right now that says in the next 5 years there's a Hollywood feel-good movie about this story.
Billion%. I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody's already working on it right now.
Yeah.
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 Agreed. So anyway, that's it. That was just, it was a nice, heartwarming event. And sports is good sometimes. There you go.
Sports is good sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
On
Glad we
occasion.
could agree.
Every other July.
Yes. All right, good stuff. So I think that's going to be it from us today.
I think so.
Cool. So thanks for watching. Again, we do this on twitch.tv/Somicron every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern and like 11 a.m. Australian.
Mm-hmm. But Wednesday
So
for if
cool.
you're in Australia, not Tuesday.
Yes, sorry. Wednesday at 11 a.m. Right,
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
Come check us out live if you want. And you can also support the podcast directly at patreon.com/Somicron.
It's true.
And you can check out the store at falconpaladin.store.
Mm-hmm.
Aki says that the longest sports ball minute of all time.
Yeah, I'm almost a minute 40.
Wow. I thought I was going fast. All right. So that's it. That's going to be it from us. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time, as always, stay safe and stay healthy. And above all, you take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Goodbye.